Each question will have 1 minute to answer, and each candidate has one, what we call extra response card. They may use it 1 time during the debate. Once they use it, we take it away. They can't use it but 1 time. So use it well.
Can we buy my boldness?
Well, let's see. For $25 each, the club might. Okay, Chance's going to be our timekeeper. She's sitting right there where the candidates can see her. She'll hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds left, and a red card when it's time to stop. And if you don't stop, she'll ring the bell.
I keep going after.
Stop, or I say stop.
Okay, if you'll have a seat, we'll let, since you're right here beside me, I'll let the first
Do I need to use this, or can you hear me? Okay, so I'm using my personal voice. So good afternoon. I want to thank everyone for being here and having the opportunity to speak with you today. I know that you can be doing so many different things and being here at midday and listening to myself and Mr. Van Zandt talk about our opportunity to elevate Clay County school system. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'll talk about who I am personally. I've lived in Clay County for the last 12 years in Oakley Plantation. I've been there in Clay County the last 12 years. I live with my wife, who has been married to her for 15 years, and my 2 daughters, Madison, who is a freshman at Oakley Senior High School, and my other daughter, who is Caitlin, who is 10 years old and attends Chimney Lakes Elementary School. We attend Elevate Life Church. We are active members, and we are great. We are truly happy to be a Clay County resident. For those of y'all who don't know me professionally, I've been a practitioner my entire career. I've been in education for 17 years. I have a bachelor's degree of science from Guilford College in Greensboro, North Carolina. I also have a master's degree in educational administration. I've led and taken on every facet in the school system other than being the superintendent. I've been a teacher, I've been an assistant principal, I've been a vice principal, I've been a principal, I've been executive director of turnaround schools, I've been a regional superintendent, I've been a leader of every middle school for my cluster chief, and I'm currently the chief of schools in Duval County Public School System, in the second in command of 160 schools and 120,000 students. For me, you asked me why I'm running, for a number of reasons. The first reason is to get Clay County back to a top 10, and more importantly, to a top 5 school system. Secondly, is to restore, the financial stability from a local, state, and a federal level. And finally, is to create a climate and culture that is collaborative, that is transparent, and more importantly, is child-centric. You know, the last 3.5 years, we've been focused on adults. We've been making decisions on adults. When we have disrespectful relationships, we've had discussions about items that don't impact kids. Now is the time for you to select a qualified leader, to put someone in who's managed and led every facet of the school system in order to accelerate student achievement and improve teaching and learning. Everyone in here, raise your hand if you've been impacted by a great teacher. Raise your hand. It should be everyone in this room. Teachers have touched our lives in any way, shape, or form in some way. Teachers, you remember the great ones. It is now time for Clay County to begin to recreate the climate and the cultures. Our teachers don't feel that way, and it starts from the top. My name is Addison Davis, and I'm your next superintendent.
Mr. Van Zandt, would you like to use the microphone?
Good afternoon. It's been my honor to serve you and the Clay County family as your superintendent the past 4 years. When I took office 4 years ago, Clay County was a good school district with potential for greatness. I've shared with you when I was running that I would do a few things, and this is what I shared with you. I shared with you that I would restore our fund balance and balance the budget, that I would increase graduation rates, that I would make learning more relevant to students, and that I would work with our business and faith communities and all stakeholders to prepare students for the job market. Moving that vision forward has not been easy. We've had to stand up to liberal groups that believe big government knows more about running the schools than us here at the local level, and those experts in the field hired to do so. Regardless of those facts, rooted in conservative values, We've demonstrated the courage needed to fight federal government intrusion in our schools and seek local control. Despite those challenges, together, we've become an A-rated school district under Florida's new accountability system. We've restored the district's fund balance to the state-required minimum. We've increased graduation rates working together with our teachers, faculty, support staff, and administrators by 9.5% over the last 4 years. That is outpacing the state average by 4 times in the increase in graduation rate, and is outpacing St. Johns County right across the river by 2 times in the increase in graduation rate over the last 2 years. Clay County School District has become one of 17 districts nationally recognized by the Ford Foundation as a next-generation learning community for our innovation and our career and technical themed work in what we've branded the Academies of Play. And we've moved from 16 career academies to 30. Now every entering 9th grader has an opportunity with their families to make a decision on a small theme-based learning academy and enter 9th grade in an academy system, in a wall-to-wall academy system. We're the only county in the state of Florida that has that system. We've shown annual improvement as measured by state and local assessments, and we've expanded our business and faith partnerships, increasing the support for our schools and our families. I'm Charlie Van Zant, and I am your superintendent.
Okay, we have questions that have been submitted by our members. So what we're going to do is just take turns drawing them. And because I'm old and forgetful, if I forget whose turn it is, you guys just remind me. Since you spoke first, we'll let him draw the first question. Can't get even get it open. Okay. The question is, what one thing should voters look at to determine if you were successful in your term or not? So, did you at first? You're both going to get 1 minute to answer. Okay. Would you like to go first, Trevor? Okay.
The term I'm completing, or the term I'm coming up on?
When you finish the term that you're elected to, what one thing should voters say, he was successful or he was not?
I think the thing that people need to look for moving forward is the same thing that you can look for looking back. Past performance is the most sure indicator of future success. And you can look at my track record in education. You can look at my track record in 27 years as a Florida National Guardsman, and every organization that I've led several organizations at several different levels, have improved along the way. Kids are in school 9 months a year. They're entrusted with us to get them through school and a high school diploma. At the end of the day, that's what you want your student to have, and I will continue to move our graduation rate, working with our teachers and faculty forward, as I have the last 4 years.
Okay, go ahead.
So you have to, if you look at these charts to my right, you have to look at data-driven decisions. This shows us that our county is continuously declining in the last, under the current leadership. We've moved to a top 10 district down to number 18 in the state of Florida. That means that we have systems and processes that are broken. In addition to this, we'll look at additional data sets. Look at our reading proficiency. We've declined 16 percentage points in reading proficiency. This tells us that there's a problem with our curriculum, and more importantly, there's a problem with the leadership to identify how to improve teaching and learning. Not only have we declined in reading, but we've also had the similar decline in the area of mathematics from a 16 percentage points. Clay County needs to be able to make informed and data-driven decisions. We talk about graduation rate and how graduation has increased in Clay County. Since 2010, you've increased 9.3. Let me give you some stats. Duval County at the same time has increased 13.3%. St. John's is at 90%. Nassau is at 11%. We talk about Baker County's at 16.8% in the same time frame. We have to look collectively and not just between ourselves and make data-driven decisions.
Okay, it'll be your turn to draw. The question is, and let's see, your turn to go first? Okay. If you could choose two things that would improve our schools, what would those two things be?
The first thing is to look at us financially. We are definitely have not met reserve in the last 3 years. We've got to really go in and do an internal audit to figure out how our fundings are used. We got to look at duplication of funding. We got to look at waste. We got to be proactive to see how we can repurpose money in order to give resources back to our classroom and give funding back to our schools. We've got to be proactive with linking out, reaching out and going to looking at grant funding and in-kind funding in order to make a sound fiscal decision in order to get back to our schools to accelerate student achievement. The other thing we've got to do, we've got to address our culture. We've got to come back and we've got to make sure that our culture for our teachers is one where they want to work in. We are losing our irreplaceables. That means we are losing our effective and highly effective teachers. They're fleeing to go into St. John's, and I know they're coming to DuPaul because we are incentivizing them. We are supporting them. We gave them a system of care, and we are showing them how to work side by side versus working from the top down.
Two minutes?
No, one, sir. One on the questions.
Oh, you asked a question. I have an answer. Tell me your question.
Okay, sure. If you could choose two things that would improve our schools, what two things would they be?
Well, overarchingly, we need to state it for us. Clay County has a vision and a path forward to be a top 10 school district in Florida. The school district right now stands at the door of greatness. In the State of the Schools address back in August, we presented a plan to be a top 10 school district in the state of Florida. And we have been a model for a successful school reform across the country. The top 10 Clay plan includes the expansion of our collaborative classrooms. It's a model designed to meet the social, emotional, and academic needs of each child. An increased focus on STEM, including robotics clubs and opportunities for students after school in computer science and coding. We need to continue our implementation and expand our academies of play, and continue and expand our utilization of technology to enhance teaching and learning while improving communication between schools and homes. That's the top 10 plan. The other thing, we'll get to later.
Your turn to draw. Thank you. Okay, the question is, why does the Clay County School District continue to drop in the overall state rankings, and what is your plan to improve that rating?
Well, thank you very much. I'll finish up. The top 10 plan that I just articulated to you is the plan to bring that ranking up. When I've heard Dr. Beatty speak about DuPaul, and I'm just getting to know Mr. Davis, he compares himself to like a school district. Above Clay County in that district ranking is like PK Young Laboratory School. Union County that has 3 schools. I think we could all agree you can't really compare Clay and Duval. If you want to compare Clay and Duval, I'll take that comparison all day long. And we have no failing schools in Clay County, and we are on the rise. So if you want to do a side-by-side comparison of Clay and Duval, that could be a whole nother debate. But we have a record of success in Clay County. I'm blessed to be the leader of that team, but we have a very collaborative culture. I spent a couple hours last summer launching a communications program for our senior leadership, school-based administrators, and I continue to work that down. We did have some... Here we go.
Okay. Want me to repeat the question? Why does the Clay County School District continue to drop in the overall state rankings, and what is your plan to improve the rating?
Yeah, so it's all about being intentional and strategic about what we do, and that's all about identifying the right curriculum, at the same time developing and supporting our constituents and our students. We have to do a better job of identifying a curriculum that better supports our learners. We're declining because I can tell you in elementary, we don't have a phonics program in elementary. So how do you teach the foundations of literacy when you don't have that type of program? Students need to be able to understand phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, comprehension in order to have a staircase approach to learning and literacy. We don't have that. It's because we don't work side by side of our teachers and have them be a part of that conversation to understand what's working, what's not, and what we can do differently. And we talked about our robust wall-to-wall academies. However, as an 8th grader, Addison Davis has to select where I go in order to select the academy. But I have zero exposure in middle school. I have zero exposure in elementary school. So where's the continuity of this? We have to do a better job exposing our learners to the skill sets and critical thinking opportunities in order to inform them.
How long is my, whatever you call it, I'm just on my
Use
shift?
your button? Okay. 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, we have a very intentional structure for teaching and learning and plenty of phonics-based instructional materials. But just to highlight, the instructional design model that we do use has 5 major elements: lesson purpose, modeling, guided practice, collaboration, and independent practice. And quite frankly, I would not trust this man to pick out a curriculum for any of my students, to include my 2 students, one who just completed elementary and one who's still in 4th grade. Duval County uses something called Engage New York, talks about Islam, it's okay to have 2 mommies and daddies, all kinds of stuff that do not meet the community standards for Clay County. So you just need to be real clear about a value-based comparison when you're shopping curriculum experts in Clay County. And there's a couple of our school principals over here sitting at this table, ladies, if you'd raise your hand. If you want to talk about elementary school curriculum when we're not in a time-limited atmosphere, there's a few experts here with us.
Is yours too? All right.
Yeah, so once again, I'm the chief of schools in Duval County. I lead so many things, but one thing I do not lead in select curriculum instruction. By state statute, the superintendent should know that curriculum is selected by engaging community members, by engaging faith-based partners, by engaging teachers and practitioners in order to select the right curriculum for our students. And in Duval County, Dr. Beatty really extended that opportunity, and the committee selected the current curriculum. Now, I will tell you, the current curriculum, it pushes our kids to think critically. It pushes them to problem solve. It pushes them to grow and defend their answers and really have a passion of learning. I will tell you this, every teacher, every student has the opportunity to opt out of the current curriculum in Duval County. But I'll tell you this, there's a number of opportunities in Clay County because as we look at the board, it's not working. So we want to talk about comparison, that's a downward slide. And that has to be because you have to understand how to improve teaching and learning and actively engage your stakeholders and your practitioners to make the right decisions based on kids.
Okay, after that, I forgot whose turn it is. Your
It's
turn?
my turn.
Okay.
I think so, that's right.
Then you're going
That's all right out there. Hold it up 32 times.
Trying to be fair.
Okay.
You do those.
All right, the question is there a state of Florida statute that you would like to change in order to better assure a good education for Clay County students? So you answer first because you're...
Yeah, so what I'd really like to do is to gain local autonomy. You know, I know that the state creates standards, but I'd like for us to push back and work with all the superintendents in Northeast Florida and all of our community members and make a stand to create localized control. And that will allow us to identify a curriculum, but to identify the standards that we teach that best activate the learning processes of our students. We have a wealth of knowledge of teachers and community members and former practitioners within our community. We need to activate their knowledge and work in partnerships in order to create change and work with our legislators in order to make certain that we're doing right by kids and right by our school system.
Okay, Mr. Van Dyke, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there a state of Florida statute that you would like to change in order to better ensure a good education for Clay County students?
There are several Florida statutes I'd like to change to educate Clay County school students, and really I would take most of the current statutes regarding education off the books. Our Constitution of the great state of Florida says that each county shall form a school board, elect a superintendent, and pay for it. I've led and been part of the Superintendent's Association the past couple of years, in which every superintendent in Florida, and that says something, agreed that the testing system that we were moving down last year had some serious work to be done. Teacher performance pay has some serious work to be done. In fact, I've asked the legislature, I know what's best, and they shared the same last name, to just have a session where they take all off the books. So there's several areas, but I have zero desire to go to Tallahassee and do that work myself. Ms. Adams is retired, I do make sure you do that. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's your turn. Drawing a question? Okay, so it'll be to you first. If we don't have the money to give our teachers a raise, what incentive can we provide to keep and attract the best teachers in Clay County?
Well, the good news on that, I got 2 minutes. Well, a couple of things, just to clear the air. We have given raises 5 out of the last 7 years. Are they the amount that I would like to give? Do I think we pay teachers enough for what they do and put up with every day? Or bus drivers, or cafeteria workers? Absolutely not. But some of the incentives that we can do, we are doing, and we've done as much as we can with the money we have. We were below 3% when I took office. We've restored that fund balance. We've cut the district office $1 million last year and $1 million this year. So we've gone from $8 million to $7 million to $6 million in district office expenditures. I don't know of any other superintendent that's cut his own staff by 25%. And that money goes back out to the teachers first. There are a couple of pay raises I voted against as a school board member, and those were in the years of economic decline when the school district was spending more money than the recurring money we had taken in, and we were getting supported with Obama money that was non-reoccurring. So we can go on and on about that too, and y'all can give me a call.
I'm sorry.
No, and I'm glad.
You want me to repeat the question or you
No,
got
I'm good. I'm glad that Mr. Van Zandt said he was part of the Florida Superintendent Association. I've done many presentations for that body and group and how to improve teaching and learning. I will say this, I'm not certain that teachers have had a step or a raise in the last 7 years other than recently, which they're paid for potentially maybe $100 at the end of the day after they work in some of the professional learning time. However, we've got to be proactive. We've got to figure out how to leverage grant money to bring in to alleviate general revenue fundings. On top of that, we've got to look for in-kind money. How can we think differently and repurpose fundings within our schools? We've got to find a way to incentivize our teachers. And how do we do that? We're being savvy and critical with our budget. We have to go through every dollar, every cent in order to make informed decisions. I've asked for a public records request on January 8th and again on March the 30th, and I will tell you how I do that, but I need that information to make an informed decision and give you examples of what I would do. But ultimately, if we don't incentivize our teachers, they will continue to leave. I didn't know when I started.
No. Although, we should think about that as a fundraiser for the next so many days. Maybe we'll sell them.
I got $100. I got to get permission from my wife, but
Is it your turn? Is it his turn?
yeah, it's my turn. Your turn. Yeah, we're right in.
What administrative staff and overhead expenses could be cut to improve our school's financial position?
Yeah, so once again, the public records request was made on January 8th and again on the 30th. So, but what I will commit to you is going in, and once I get the entire org chart, what I received when I made that request was just everyone at the cabinet level. And I can pull that offline. But what we actually need to see is anyone that's not inside of a school. We need to look at maintenance. We need to look at school improvement. We need to look at professional development. We need to look at human resources. We need to look at facilities and operations. We need to look at curriculum and instruction. We need to look at if there's any type of structure of, with the chief of staff. We need to be able to understand and look at every one of those departmental budgets in order to make informed decisions. I can tell you that the current money right now is not being purposed and aligned with improvement student outcomes, and it's not aligned with your strategic plan. If it was, you would continuously be at the 3% reserve, and we continually not be. That is mismanagement of funding, folks, and we can do better. As superintendent, I will link with Northeast Florida superintendents for coming in and former practitioners to dive into the budget and make sound decisions.
Okay, would you like me to repeat the question?
Question of district staff?
Yes, staff or administrative staff or overhead expense.
I just shared with you, we've cut the district staffing by 25% over the last 2 years. So we're continuing to look at any position that does not directly support students. If somebody's on the payroll and they don't have 125 kids on their roll every day, like a high school teacher with 5 period times 25 kids or whatever the number comes out to be with elementary school children, we're critically looking at those positions. Now, I can tell you the ratio of administrators, management, if you will, in Clay County is 3% to everybody else. In Duval, it's already 5. So, I've heard you mention public records request. I called Mr. Davis when he made it. I'm sure we provided whatever's on file. That's the requirement. You provide whatever public records are there. You're not required to make them by state statute. But I'll offer for a cup of coffee and a walk around Green Cove and answer any questions you have. It's still valid. That's all.
Okay, I don't think we have enough time for another question, do we? Marlon, I think we'll do the close. Okay, you get a 2-minute close. Did you open? Who opened? Okay, so you wanna do the first close, Mr. Vincent?
Sure.
And this is for 2 minutes, Jan.
Okay.
2, not 10, 2.
Well, yeah. All right. Let me tell you why this is so important. When I was 10 years old, I moved to Keystone Heights, Florida, because my mother was sick with terminal cancer and died. We met the guidance counselor. My mother talked with her for a few minutes. We walked out back. They dropped my younger sister off in Miss Bullock's class. She was teaching 3rd grade. She was only 12, I promise. And then took me over to Thelma Allen's 5th grade class. And for the next couple of years, my family went through a lot. In 1984, my mother eventually passed. However, during that time, the teachers, the coaches, the guidance counselors, the churches, the people that owned the local shop, who had one red light, everybody knew each other. Kind of the center of gravity was the bait and tackle lady, Norma Parrott, who the 2 sheriff's deputies that were south of 16 hung out at the bait and tackle shop. And she was my dad's Sunday school director at the church she pastored. And everybody knew everybody. And that there was a seamless city. I don't know if you've ever read that book kind of concept going on there. So that's why it's so important to me. One of our 4 pillars beyond the academics, being a top 10 school district, is our community engagement. And I want the opportunity for your children and your grandchildren, when I met a grandchild of yours the other day, to have that same opportunity growing up in Clay County. We have an excellent culture and climate. The only consternation you see is if you flip on the school board. If you walk into any of our 41 schools, you will see well-oiled academic machines day in and day out. And I will be glad to escort you personally or have one of our staff take you into any school before your kid enrolls, your grandchild enrolls. If you pull the Chamber of Commerce report with satisfaction among the schools in Clay County, it's through the roof. I have a record of the success that we can reflect upon, both in the military and in education. You look at Duval County, you get people every day, teachers, administrators, parents, they would all rather be in a Clay County school situation. So I'd ask you to reflect on that.
2 minutes.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and thank you for your service in the military, but this is about education. We'll bring it back, but it's about kids. And when we talk about kids, we need to be very thankful and pushing forward for us to make decisions that are child-centric. We talked about the board interactions. There's no evidence we have a cultivated professional dialogue or consensus. It is really contentious. It is not a reflection of Clay County. We can do better. We deserve better. We are thinking in a vacuum, okay? We are thinking in a vacuum. We've got to think differently. How can we problem solve? How can we make decisions? How can we build robust programs in Clay County? We have Orange Park Elementary School. Why is that the only school we want want to showcase. That should be duplicated throughout the entire school system. We have wall-to-wall academies in high school. When are the kids going to transition to our middle schools to expose them to that type of content to make an informed decision when they go to high school? When are we going to start offering higher level thinking from elementary, middle, and high school in every one of our schools? And more importantly, when are we going to lead with respect? When are we going to respect our educators, our community members, and listen to their voice in order to make informed decisions? We can do better. From a technology standpoint, why aren't all of our schools have accessibility to digital technology? This is the 21st century. It's not happening. That's all because we're not being creative with our funding. In addition to that, why is our morale down? We can say that we're an A school system all day long because the commissioner expanded that scale. Let's be honest. They expanded that scale. All right? But more importantly, if you ask our teachers and you ask our constituents, because I've walked over 2,500 homes, and they will tell you it's a broken system. People who are educators and teachers openly are telling me they want to support me, but they are afraid to support me openly. And that's because we've created a system of fear. And it's not a right. It's about kids. And it's about your heart and being passionate about your work. It's not about anything else. So every decision we make has to be about my daughter and my 2 daughters and every one of your grandchildren or your daughters or sons as well. Again, thank you for being here, and I'm Addison Davis. Thank you, sir.
Okay. If both of you would just please stand. A group like this, of course, knows better than most what it takes to put yourself out there and run for election. And it takes a toll on your family, on your friends, on everybody that you know. And so we want to thank both of you for the efforts, and we appreciate your coming today. Let's give them a big round of applause.